And we're live. All right. Hello, everyone. It is me again, Geisha, aka Dedra, aka Choco Geisha, back for another video. So thank you for tuning in. I want to sincerely apologize for those of you who were here yesterday. There was a scheduling error, but here we are. So I'm very excited to share this topic with you. And today's topic is going to be my jet experience. Some advice as well as some other tidbits from my time abroad in Japan. So if this is something you like to see from me or something that you're interested in or something that relates to you, please hit like. All right, well, let's get right into it. So before we get started on today's presentation, I want to just share that I am going to be featured as a panelist for the San Francisco Consulate's JET alumni orientation. That'll be going on later today. So if you guys are in my area, you'll be seeing me there. But I wanted to share some of the things that I will be telling to that audience. So, all right, without further ado, let's get into it. Mind you, some of these things are things that I've shared already with some of you in previous videos, but we will be going over those again today for the sake of making everything relevant. All right, so let's see. First things first, my name is Dedra, pronouns she, her. Prefecture, I was in Gunma from 2018 to 2019, and I taught elementary school from basically 1st to 6th. I was able to teach all of elementary, so I've got lots of experience. And hello, Ailing, Lenik, thank you for coming, and Kuzeni, thank you. Let's see, so going on to the questions, for those of you who's just got in, I'll be featured as a panelist for one of the prospective JET orientations, and these are literally the questions that I will be answering for the orientation. So I don't think that these things are secrets, but I will definitely be sharing them now, so stay tuned. Let's see. Okay, so number one of these questions is talking about my first experiences when I arrived in my town and what I remember thinking or doing. Okay. So the first thing that happened when I went to JET was they flew us all expenses paid, mind you. And they like to seat jets together. So we were all just like sitting together, turning up. But we arrived in Tokyo to this really big hotel, and there was a bunch of different groups. So you're divided into either A group, B group, or C group. But the first day orientation is where you all meet together. So I remember I actually posted a vlog on my channel of that first day. I was just so excited, you guys. I was just pumped up. People from all different countries, all different walks of life, just here to experience the same thing. And it was amazing. I just remember being excited. Question 2 is, what was my living situation like, and talk about my apartment or house. So I have done some room and apartment tours for you guys in the past, but I had one of the biggest houses or one of the biggest apartments in my area. I had 2-bedroom, a kitchen, and a living area. So it was pretty generous. And actually, the person who was there before me, because when you're a JET, you take over the previous person whose position you're filling. You get their school, you get their apartment. So the person I inherited my place from, she was known for hosting like all the parties because her house was so big. And I could totally see that because my place was really huge. Even when my parents had come to visit me in Japan, it was just really spacious. So that's what I remember the most about my place. Other than that, yeah, really cozy. It tended to get a little cold. It wasn't as warm as I was thinking, mainly because a lot of Japanese places don't have like central heating the way we do in the West. Hi, Mac. Hi, Mickey. I'm not sure if that's Mickey or not. Welcome. Just talking about my JET experience before I do this panel later today. Ooh, I'm kind of nervous, you guys. I'm kind of nervous about this panel, but I'm more excited. It's the BIPOC panel too. So I'm in the JET BIPOC. I'll type it here. BIPOC. And that's basically Black, Indigenous, people of color. So I'll be in that panel. I'm kind of nervous, but this is the questions they'll be sharing with me, or I'll be sharing with them. So I'm sharing with that with you. Uh, Question number 3 is, tell us a bit about the jet community that was around you. Were there other jets nearby? Did you spend time together? Yes. The jets, I want to say there was maybe like 12 other jets in my city. There was actually quite a few of us in the same area, and we would literally meet every weekend and just talk about the shenanigans we endured in the week. There was one girl, her name was Corey. She was like my freaking BFF when I was there. We met on Jet, just, another Black girl doing her thing. And she was just so freaking cool. Man, we were just chums. I still talk to her today. She's still there. She's still in Japan on Jet right now. But yeah, we were so cool. Unfortunately, no, it's a very exclusive kind of meeting only for Jets who've been accepted into the program. But you guys won't technically be missing anything because I'm sharing all of the information right now. So this is everything I would be sharing anyway. For those of you, I'm not sure. No, you haven't missed much at all. There's a total of 12 questions and I'm on number 4 now. So you're pretty early. And thank you, Lo-Fi. Thank you. This is my panel look. So getting that together. All right. Did you spend time together? Yes. There was once a week, I want to say, where I met up with my friends individually. And then once a week also, there was a Japanese English exchange group that I joined in my city, Takasaki. And I was there, once a week chatting up 30 minutes. It was like an hour long. So 30 minutes in English, 30 minutes in Japanese. And we just, go back and forth, just talking about our lives and who we were. It was really cool. Actually, I look back really fondly on that time. But yeah. All right, let's continue on. Number 4, how did you get involved with your Japanese community? What extracurriculars did you pick up? Were you able to make Japanese friends? That is all number 4. So the first part of number 4, how did you get involved with your Japanese community? One of the things I did was I joined a Japanese, how can you say, it's like a JLPT practice group. So the JLPT is basically a language test that shows how fluent you are in Japanese. So I was studying for N3 at the time because I'd failed it before. So I was studying for it again. And there was a bunch of people from different areas of Japan that, different areas of the city that volunteered. And yeah, I got paired with this lady. She was super chill. We met for like it had to be like, yeah, it was like 6 months we met together. And when I took the test, I passed. And, I told her and she was super happy. And she kind of became a friend of mine. Other ways, I went to a lot of the different festivals as well. So I met like random people. You guys already know the sweet potato story, just random. When you go out into the world and you just go out to explore and you go get lost in your city, stuff happens. Like stuff just happens to you. Like life occurs. You meet different kinds of people, and people, when they see that you're different, they want to talk to you, and you just you get stories that are worth sharing, basically, is what I'm saying. So just going out and living life, you will experience a lot of things. I guess part 2 of number 4 is, what extracurricular activities did you pick up? I started running a lot. I remember when I was back in Gunma, I ran like a 10-kilometer dash. And that was my first time running long distance ever. So I did it, in Japan. And it was really cool because it was just cherry blossom. It was March. So like there were cherry blossoms around, and I was running my, 10 kilometers. I don't know, that's like 8 miles. I was running and cherry blossoms were just falling around me. And I remember there are people, because we were running through town. And there was a bunch of people like, oh, there's even foreigners. He's like, oh, gajin ga irunda. And I was like, hello. I was like, I heard you, but hi. And then they're like, oh, hello. They're like, good luck, keep running. And I was running. And then there were cherry blossoms falling. And I remember I caught a falling cherry blossom. And then I was like, I caught one. And they're like, good for you. But yeah, random memories, flashbacks, you guys, flashbacks. But yeah, lots of fun things. Were you able to make Japanese friends? Yes, I was able to make many Japanese friends. Continuing on, number 5, how comfortable of a life did your salary offer? Were the day-to-day chores, shopping, paying bills, laundry, etc., difficult in Japan? Where did you go, and what did you do on vacation? So let's see. To be honest, I was able to save quite a bit of money. My rent per month was about 500 US dollars, and I don't even remember how much I was paid. Oh gosh. But it was definitely enough to keep me, able to do extracurricular things and pay for my food and pay for all of my living expenses. So I wasn't hurting in that area, but I also didn't travel nearly as much. The places I traveled to when I was in Japan are like Kyoto, Osaka, and obviously Tokyo. I went several times, but there wasn't anything major. So I was able to save quite a bit of money, but I also saved a lot because I wasn't doing a whole ton. All right. Where did you go and what did you do on vacation? Okay, answered that. All right, let's continue to number 6. What did you like the most about living in Japan? Mm, I liked the onsen. You guys know I love onsen. The onsen are like hot springs you sit in and you're fully naked and you just sit in the bath, and it was so relaxing. I love onsen. Let's see. Another part of that question was, what difficulties did you have adjusting to Japanese society, and how did you overcome them? One of the things that was really hard for me was the staring. Being someone that is, of color, you get a lot of looks basically every day, everywhere you go. It never stops. Um, and it really got to me at a certain point. It really irritated me to the point where I was just like, I wanted to like fight back, but but after a while, you realize that the stares are not stares of judgment. The stares are more stares of surprise and intrigue. And some people still don't like that, but for me, kind of, because I was able to talk to some people. Sometimes when people would stare, like they'd end up actually coming up to me and initiating conversation. Especially once they figure out you can speak Japanese, they're just all ears and they just want to talk and listen. And you find out that it's more so just they're curious because maybe they've like never seen a Black person before. Like that's a very possible thing. And they're just so curious, and there's just so many things running through their head, especially if you have hair like mine. I didn't have braids back then, but they just everything about you is just so different. They're just so curious. And that's how I've made some of my friends actually to this day, was just talking to people. So staring has kept a lot of POCs from going, unfortunately. Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, because I think that here in America, because we have a little, or at least in the West, we have a different relation to our race relation history is a lot different than it is in other countries. Because there's a lot of, I feel like, animosity like deep in America that we're kind of trying to change now. It's a little late, but we're trying to change those feelings of animosity into feelings of acceptance and an acknowledgement of each other's struggles. But in Japan, like that whole thing just does not exist. Like they didn't even have diversity to start with. So when they see you, it's just, they don't even know what to think. They're just like more so just intrigued about you. And that's something I learned later on, which made the stares okay. After a while, I just got used to them. And I was just like, you know what? These people are probably just shocked I'm even in their neighborhood. Because Takasaki is not like Tokyo. Takasaki it was the country. But yeah, that's enough on that. Let's see. 7 is, what do you do now? I am a legal assistant at a Japanese law firm. I love to sing that to the hilltops. And I'm very proud of my position right now. Only Black person in there, so woo woo, representation, building bridges. But my company was bold enough to take a chance on me, and I think that says a lot about Japanese people in general. Like, I always, I mentioned in some other videos, every time I go into the office, I work remotely usually, but when I go into the office about once a month, there's always like, we get magazines and things in newspapers. The Black Lives Matter one is always on top. And I'm like, okay, you guys, thank you for your support. I get it, but this is like a month old. But they're all really nice. Like, you guys, they're not racist, if that's, the concern. They're not, especially with at least my company. They're really good to me, you guys. But anyway, continuing on. Let's see. 8 is, how did you change after going on the JET program? The JET program really helped me grow into an adult. That was my first time like really living on my own and really being away from my family. Um, it really showed me that the world is a lot bigger than I had ever known it was, and that in life we have the choice to do whatever we want. You can be, in this country, you can be in that country, you can do this, you can do that, but still, after all of that, I chose to be exactly where I was, and that just, I don't know, it really, at least for my life, like at that time, I was like 23, 24. I'm 25 now, but like looking back, it just, it really was like a growing point for me. So, yeah, I really grew into an adult. Let's see. Continuing on, number 10 is, did you get involved in any groups like Asian Pacific Islander, AJET, or Jets of African descent? I did. I got involved with Jets of African descent. The we only met twice. I think it's also because the group was pretty inactive, but when I first landed in Japan, we met like during orientation and we all went out to eat dinner together. And it was like actually really cool. I have a picture. Um, Dang it. Where is that picture? I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I don't know where it is. But yeah, we went out to eat together. It was super cool. And then after that, we went out like randomly again for dinner in Tokyo. Like I want to say like 4 months after that. So yeah, I was involved with the Jets of African descent. 11 was there any element of living in Japan you felt wasn't addressed enough in your orientations? Um, One thing, let's see, that wasn't addressed enough was how I don't know, like I feel like the time flies a lot faster than you really realize. Like it's a year, but you've got like 52 weeks, which means like 52 weekends. Like I honestly, if I had known that the time would fly that quickly, I would have planned something like every weekend. I would have been in a new prefecture. I would have been in a new location doing something new literally every weekend because it just flies by. It really flew by. And it's crazy that I'm looking at this in hindsight because it felt like I had videos when I was in it, like some of you guys were there. Like I have videos when I was back in it. And now I'm looking back like, dang, that's behind me now. The time does fly, the time moves, whether you're aware of it or not. So always be looking to experience new things and broaden your horizons in the time you've been given because the time comes and time goes. All right. Let's continue on. Doo-doo-doo-doo. To 12. 12 is the last one. Do you have any advice for incoming Jets of color? Um, don't let your fear of judgment stop you from doing things. This goes for staring. This goes for other kinds of things. Like, I don't know, anything that you feel like you being, Black or Indigenous or another person of color, you being BIPOC is going to be a problem. I promise you, it's not as much of a problem as you're making it out to be. Like, don't let it stop you from doing literally anything. Try it. Just try it. Those limiting beliefs don't help anyone. And chances are people are going to be more impressed with you, with the fact that you're willing to try, even though you're not Japanese. So that's my biggest thing. Don't let it stop you from trying anything. Like if people want to, like, for example, run like the Tokyo Marathon, like just do it. Don't be scared that you're not Japanese. Just try. Or if you want to, join like a Japanese taiko club and you're like, I'm going to be the only Black person in there, like just do it. Like just go. I remember I went to a Japanese yoga class. Just it was like next to me. I rode my bike and went one day, and yeah, I talked to the instructor afterwards and he was like, I've never had a Black person in here. You're actually, he said that like, you're pretty limber, like you're pretty flexible. I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, like just do it. Just do it. It's really not as big of a deal as, you probably think it is. It's scary to be the first person to try things, but it'll be worth it in the end. All right. That is the last one. So that's all of the questions from my JET presentation. Um, my presentation's in an hour and 10 minutes. I have to log on for the JET BIPOC panel for 2021. The new JETs go out on January like 4th, I think. So they're going to be out of here really soon. But I'm excited that I'm the one who gets to share my experience with them and kind of give them something to look forward to and kind of, show them their way, lead the way for them in a way. I'm excited. All right. Well, we got 10 minutes. If you guys have any questions at all, I'm going to end this. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time today, but I've got 10 minutes till 11:30. So if you guys want to ask anything, I'm going to just go over these and maybe make a few finishing thoughts about my experience in general. All right. So Elise Art says, I hear that staring happens in Asian countries and that in China you should even expect to have your picture taken suddenly without permission sometimes, though I've heard sometimes around 2016. I'd say that's also pretty true. I mean, I think it's kind of uncommon to have people just take pictures of you randomly, but sometimes they'll ask to take your picture or they'll want to be in a picture with you because it really is just that like, this is never happening again in my life. I will capture this kind of feeling. Like that's where it's coming from. It's not ridicule or anything. I don't know. I feel like, especially being in the West, we have kind of like a warped idea of what it means to be not white. But it's not a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. And people aren't taking it negatively. So I'd say like breathe in, breathe out, and smile for the camera. So yes. Max says, so orientation, you made your first friends there. That's great that you weren't that alone and new people. Yeah, honestly, the JET program does a really good job of gathering people together. I remember that when we first landed, the first thing they did was divide us by our region. So like Kanto, Kansai, Tohoku, they'll divide you in the 5 regions. I'll go over the regions later in future videos, but they divide you by your region, and then they divide you by your prefecture, and then they divide you by your city. And in my city, well, there were already Jets living there, but I want to say I went with like 5 new Jets, 5 brand new Jets who are experiencing the same thing. And there's this one guy, his name is Mark. And I don't think he follows me on my channel, but he was like my ride or die. He was there. He literally helped me drive my luggage because he had a car I didn't. He helped me drive my luggage to the airport when I finally moved back to America and everything. He was the one. But yeah, you meet people like that. Hey, everyone who's coming in now. 8 minutes left. Any questions, feel free to ask. This live will be up afterwards as well. Let's see. So A. Lennox says, you will be great. You just did it for us. I don't know they were still because of COVID. How complex was your application process? I was denied 2 years ago. One guy said he applied 3 times to get in. I watched your JET advice video like 2 years ago. Oh, thank you for being, so loyal. But yeah, it's not uncommon for people to be rejected from JET. I don't exactly, to be honest, I don't really know why. I mentioned in a previous video that when I was applying, it was actually like a group application with 2 of my other friends. And one of my friends got in, I got in, but the other friend didn't. But we all applied together. And we basically all have the same credentials. So honestly, that is beyond me. I'm not sure what gets you in or not. But what I can say is you can apply multiple times. So like your friend did, you can apply like 3 times and get in on the 3rd, or apply twice and get in on the 2nd. As far as, sorry, I'm trying to read what your question was. As far as letting new Jets in, yes, the visas are conditional. If you're a long-term stay, like for example, a year to 3-5 years, then you can get the visa. But if you're just going to travel, I think they're not letting, especially Americans in, just because our rates are really high for COVID. So if you're staying there long-term, then they're a little more lenient and it can work. But if you're not, then they pretty much reject everyone, I think. Continuing on. Oh, Lo-Fi says, you're so inspirational. You will do great. Thank you. Max says, do you do this panel every year? No, actually, this is my first time being invited. I think it's also because the panelists, well, there's different kinds of panels. There's been like LGBTQ plus panels, there are Asian American panels, and then there's the BIPOC panel, which I'm a part of. So Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So all the miscellaneous people of color are kind of all in this panel. Yeah, this is my first time because this is my first time being an alumni. So I get to reflect on my experience in a way that can benefit the new generation of Jets. Let's see. Oh, so Chris Jew says, "Hey there. Do you know of any other programs we can apply to other than JET? Just out of curiosity." Yes, there are many programs, many programs. There's Borderlink, there's Interact, there's Heart Corporation, there's many other ones. I'll be making a video on this later as well, like how to get a job outside of JET. Obviously, JET is, government funded, so there's a lot more security. They pay for your flight there. There's a lot of benefits that come with JET. But if your goal is to just get to Japan, then there's other organizations you can apply to that aren't necessarily as strict. They may or may not offer the same levels of support, but they will get you to that ultimate goal of getting there and having a school and having like a regular job and that security. So yeah, that's coming up. Good question though. Lo-Fi says, how important is the personality factor during the interview? Do individuals with certain characteristics tend to succeed? Yes, good question as well. Personality factor, I'd say not so much. I mean, it does matter. It does matter. They like people who are, in general, friendly. You don't have to be outgoing and, just, a character. You don't have to be all of that. But when you write your statement of purpose, which is a part of your application process, it's like your cover letter that explains why you even care to go to Japan in the first place. What is your motive? When you have that letter and you get accepted, it's usually because they like what you wrote. So what they're trying to do in the interview is see that you are that person, that you embody this narrative, and that it makes sense. What they read and what they see in front of them is the same entity, and that's what they want to confirm more than anything. As far as personality, like I said, they want you to be friendly. Being a teacher, well, I'll start this by saying there's two positions you can potentially get on JET. One is an ALT, an assistant language teacher. The other one is a CIR, a coordinator of international relations. So if you're doing the CIR position, you don't have to have as much social know-how. But if you're an ALT, which does pay more, I'm not sure by how much, but it does pay more, then they want you to be a little more, friendly, to like kids, to have experience in other cultures, etc. So that's what I would say. Oop, 3 minutes left. Okay, we'll try and run through these. Yes, Fantasia, glad you could make it too. This video will be up afterwards. So Max says, good luck during the panel. We know you'll be great, and you give such inspirational advice to them just like you do us. Thank you. Fantasia says, how much money do you need to have a nice cushion to move there in 6 months to a year? Let's see. I would start off by having at least $3,000. $3,000 minimum. It depends on what organization you go with, but with JET, at least they do kind of take care of, some of that, I guess the lock fee, and some other things for rent, but they do, they pay for your flight as well, but they do need you to have like $3,000 because you don't get paid until the end of the next month. If you start in March, you don't get paid till the end of May. So you need they just suggest a $3,000 cushion. Some people can bring more if you're looking to, purchase a little more. You have like a more luxurious lifestyle, but $3,000 is the standard. All right. Let's see. And last question I'll answer is Elise Art. If you're accepted to JET and go to Japan, could you work on another part-time job like a combiner person or tutor? Actually, no. That is one downside of JET, is that you cannot work any other job. And I think it's also because it is like a government-funded job. They want you to be just a full-time JET. Even technically, as I was a YouTuber on the side, technically I wasn't supposed to be. Don't tell anyone. Because you're not supposed to have multiple sources of income. Or multiple, I guess, divisions of your time. You're supposed to be a full-time teacher. So yeah, technically you couldn't do like a personal tutor or kombini job, maybe informally, but you're not supposed to. All right, I think that is everything. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm not sure if any of you will be in the panel today at 12:30, but for those of you who are, I will see you then. But for those of you who aren't, thank you for coming today. If you like this video, please remember to like it so I can see that you do. I don't do many videos on JET, but just because it's relevant to today, I decided to push something out. But I do appreciate your presence today. And I guess I will see you all on the flip side. I hope you guys have a happy holiday. I plan on seeing you guys before Christmas, so we'll talk more then. All right, you guys, have a good day or a good night, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.